Hi, I'm Joyce Danger, and I wanted to share with you some insights from our moms that maybe have helped us to build our Mary Kay businesses or that could help us. And in honor of Mother's Day, it might have been your mom, or it might have been a mom in your neighborhood, or a grandma, or something like that. I know when I was a little girl, it didn't matter whose mom saw you doing something, any mom who got after you or whatever, they just stepped up to the plate, and every mom just kind of took over and got after whoever kid they saw doing something. So for all the moms out there, this is in honor of Mother's Day. So um, the moms all thought that we were special, and that when a mom brings home their new baby from the hospital, and we just adore those little babies, and those babies grow up to be grown-ups like us, and we all have unique gifts and talents, and just enjoy your uniqueness. And that's part of why you are involved with Mary Kay, and what makes you good at doing what you're doing is that special thing that makes you you, and bring that to your business and bring it to the table and let that shine in your business. The next thing is know that love is unconditional, and that moms always love you, and that we learn to love our customers and find the neat things in them, and we learn to love our team members and love the people around us, and bring that to the table in your Mary Kay business. The next one is that dreams come true. Walt Disney always says that dreams come true when you plan them. When we were little girls, remember sitting at the birthday table, and the candles got put on the cake, and that we would make a wish and blow out the candles, and that we believed that wishes came true. And somewhere along the line, maybe around 8 or 9 years old, we kind of started to think maybe that didn't happen, and that it wasn't that way, or that we had to start getting realistic about our dreams and that sort of thing. Um, but if you can just take a step back to when you were a little girl and remember about dreams, and know that we do have the opportunity to live the life of our dreams, and to plan the dreams and live the life that we want. And it is about deciding what you want, and then going in that direction and working in that direction to make that happen. It's not going to just fall in your lap, but we do have the opportunity to work for it. And Mary Kay has brought me back to being able to dream about what I want, and to live the life of my dreams. The next thing is that you can be whatever that you want to be. When you were little, we talked about what did you want to be when you grew up, and that sort of thing. Um, we have the option to decide what you want to be when you grow up, and that's kind of part of with your dreams. But know that I know when I started in Mary Kay, I had a 6-year-old son, and I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up, and I thought that I already grew up, but the company that I was working for was having a lot of financial struggles. The economy was having financial troubles at that time, and they were laying people off. And so I was looking for options. I didn't know if Mary Kay was going to be that, but it was something that I was looking at. So, kind of know that you can be whatever you want to be. Next one's mom would always say is do your best. Just give it your best. And if you know that you're doing your best, then, be happy with that and be proud with that. And practice makes perfect. So every makeover that I do is practice for the next one. And sometimes they go really well, and sometimes I forget things, or things just don't happen the way that I want them to do. But I know that the next one is going to go better, because I will get better at things. And now we have new products that came out, and so sometimes as we're learning to demonstrate new things, um, you find out different ways not to do it. And so, sometimes I know, 10 different ways not to do a certain things, but that's what makes us good at doing the business. Um, a job well done is its own reward, and so just knowing that you've given it your best is good enough. The next one is that the world doesn't revolve around you. I certainly remember my mom telling me that, and I know I remember telling my littlest daughter that, and um, and she was just kind of shocked that, when I told her that the teacher wasn't going to wipe her bottom when she was going to go to school, and she was going to have to learn to do that herself. And she looked at me in horror that, really, she's not? And I said, nope, you're going to have to learn how to do that yourself. And um, when things go wrong, you know, the world's not out to get you, but just know that everything's not all about you, and that's okay. So people are going to hurt your feelings, and stuff is going to happen, but you're going to come out on top, because you're going to make a decision that's what's going to happen, and that you're not going to let all that little crap get you down. Um, Moms taught us not to be afraid. Not to be afraid of the boogeyman under the bed and all that other kind of stuff that we worried about. Good night, sleep tight, don't let the bed bugs bite, and all that kind of stuff that we would hear. But to know that we can get over stuff. We can face our fears, and that we can do it anyway. Um, Next one is, if you fall down, get back up, brush yourself off, and try it again. Mary Kay always said that she had the bloodiest knees of anybody because she would fall down. We all do. And she who's successful is the one who gets back up the most times. And rather than letting that fall be the thing that stops you, let it be the thing that propels you forward, and that you learn from the things that didn't work out the way that you wanted them to do, and to learn from our mistakes. Um, the next one that we learn from our moms is, you know, how many of you have ever heard, if your friends all jumped off the bridge, would you jump off the bridge just because everybody else is doing it? All that kind of stuff. Sometimes we have to learn not to be a copycat. And so sometimes I know when I started in Mary Kay, it's a non-traditional job. It's not what everybody else is doing. And a lot of people don't understand it. And they thought, Joyce, you should just get a real job. And, that's what people expected us to do and expected me to do. Um, but I knew that I wanted something different. And in order to get something different, you have to do something different. And um, that I needed to be able to be okay with doing something different, and that it didn't fit into the normal of what everybody else does. And that you can, if you can see where you're going to go, or for a long time I had to go on the belief that my director had in me, and that she could see where I could go and be able to build that lifestyle without having to do what everybody else did. Um, Another thing I remember your mom telling you, two wrongs don't make a right. And I remember having fights with my brothers, and you just want to get even with them. And and my mom would say, I don't care who started it. We're just, I'm going to end it, or it's going to end right now, and you just want to get back at them. But in Mary Kay, we have to know to take the high road, and that there's going to be situations where you're going to want to, argue back with somebody or fight back with somebody. But if you take the high road's not crowded, and you won't be embarrassed by something that you did or said on the high road. But I've seen some pretty nasty Facebook fights and some things that happen where sometimes people regret what they've said. And you never know where you're going to meet your customers, or where you're going to connect up with people. But you want to be that one that they um, feel comfortable around, or that people might say, I really respect the way you handled that situation, or what happened there. And it's not always Mary Kay situations. It might be something that happened at a school situation, or a church situation, or something else that you're in, but that you want to be the one who took the high road. Find a way to see the funny side of things. Your mom may have taught you that. And life is like a sitcom, and has a lot of comedy moments. Our Mary Kay skincare parties, or whatever you want to call them, that's the classic example of that kind of thing, because the ladies who are at the parties, they do things that we didn't expect them to do. Sometimes it's like herding cats, trying to get them all to be there at the same time, or get started, or do what you want them to do. Sometimes the closing is like nailing Jello to a wall to get them to to make a decision right here, right now. I offer a decision making bonus, or basically it's a gift with purchase. If you purchase $40 today, you get this little whatever the thing is, gift with purchase kind of thing, just to get something to happen today, rather than to have them go home and think about it, because I would like to be done with it when we go home, and not have to do all the follow-up and stuff like that. I want my follow-up to be, how are you loving your products, not if she's decided to get whatever it was she was thinking about. So just know that you're going to have situations that you're going to have to find the funny in. I think the funniest one that I know of, my recruiter, her husband was going to bring her stuff out to the car for her, so he brought it out to the car. Car was locked, so he just put it out, behind the car. And you can see what happened next. Of course, she got out there, took off, rammed right over all of this stuff, and I'm sure she didn't think it was at all funny at the time. But when she told me about it, I thought it was really hysterical. And I learned that the show must go on. She went ahead and did the party anyway, and I learned a lot from it, and I'm sure that she probably said some not so beautiful words to him, but things happen, and you just have to be able to find the funny in it. And as you talk to different directors, we all have stories of things that have happened that, it's like, oh well, that happens. The next thing that moms talk about is, do unto others as you would have them to do unto you. And that's what Mary Kay calls the golden rule. And in Mary Kay, she asks that like what would you want to happen if, if the shoe was on the other side, what would you want to happen if it was you? So for example, if I'm trying to figure out what to do for a customer, or if you were to, looking at something, maybe I want to put something up. I'm doing my Mother's Day open house. So if I want to put something up on Facebook, what would I like my customers to see about your open house? And I really would rather that they didn't know that you were having an open house, because it's just, they don't really need to know that somebody else have an open house. So if I'm doing what I'm doing on my open house, is I did a private event and private messaging and that sort of thing, because I would like that, you just kind of put your shoe, put yourself in the other shoe, and what would you like them to know? And then that's how I know my answer. So sometimes if you don't know what to do, put yourself in the other foot, or shoe in the other foot, and then you'll know. Um, the next one is don't dwell on it. I know my mom said don't mope around, just get over it, that sort of thing. But sometimes things are going to happen, and if you learn to get past it and not just get stuck on dwelling on it, you're going to get do a whole lot better. Um, Remember your mom saying sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you, that kind of stuff. Kids used to call each other names and all that kind of thing. I remember even when people would talk about naming their babies, they're talking about, don't pick something that rhymes with bad things, or something, because kids make fun of things. So unfortunately, grown-ups sometimes do too, and that you want to make sure that if somebody is, making fun of you or teasing you or whatever, that it's just that, it's teasing, and it's, don't take it seriously, and that it's not going to, um, be something that's permanent or anything, but do guard your heart. So if there's a situation that maybe somebody is teasing or making fun, if you are going to your Mother's Day, get together with your family, and your brothers are going to be there, and your brothers maybe, one of my brothers, I don't think he's grown up yet, he's my older brother, but he sometimes says things that, I know he's just teasing, and I'm sure he doesn't mean bad, but sometimes there's things that happen that, are just kind of like we were back, being 10 years old again. So, just change the subject, talk about something different, or, ask him about his, basement project or whatever, so that you're not getting stuck on something that, if they're asking you, so when are you going to get that Cadillac, or something like that, that maybe is kind of, said in kind of a hurtful way, or way that you're taking it personally. Um, don't be a sore loser. Sometimes you're going to have a goal that you're going to reach for, and it didn't happen the way that you wanted. Maybe you registered for a seminar and it's not coming. I mean, the seminar sold out immediately, and it's a really hard thing for, where there's a wait list, and we're working our best to get, to make sure that everybody who wants to go can go, but sometimes things don't happen the way that we wanted it to happen. Um, and we need to learn to, to pick ourselves up, brush ourselves off, and not let that, get in our way for things. The next one is to clean up your mess. If your mom ever, I know my mom used to say, ask if a tornado went through my room, and I thought it was a weather report, but the room isn't going to clean itself, things like that. But sometimes our mess is based on chaos, or things that we create around us. Sometimes it's verbal chaos. If you are um, if you hang around people who create a mess by things that they say. So be aware of that, and that if and control that. So sometimes I have to remember that everything I think in my head, I don't have to say out of my mouth, or be aware of the presence that I have, and the words that I say. Um, if sometimes, it's the next one is, it's the thought that counts. Sometimes the little things mean a lot. A compliment that you give to somebody, sending her a little note in the mail. If somebody is sick, or if somebody is hurting, or something like that, take the time to send her a little note, or to, let her know that you care. Those things are important to people. Um, Share. In Mary Kay, we share ideas. When we were little, we used to share our toys. These videos, it's a great way to share just ideas of things that we're doing. Our websites, if you are doing, do something kind of cool, post it up on Facebook. If you did something that works, people like to hear that. So don't be afraid to share. At our meetings, that's what we do, is we share ideas, so that if you have an idea and I have an idea, then we share it, and now we each have two ideas rather than just one. Um, the next one is to play fair. We learn to play fair as little kids, and in Mary Kay, we try to play fair, and that we don't take each other's customers. So, and I know that if we ask somebody if she has a consultant, she might say no, she doesn't. But I have talked to a lot of people. If you ask them, do you have a consultant? And She might say no, she doesn't, but I can tell by what she's ordering from me or what she's trying to order that she obviously has used Mary Kay before, or she isn't going to be ordering those particular items because she knows what she wants. So sometimes I might ask her in a little bit different way. So I might say, do you get a catalog in the mail from somebody? Um, who do you usually get your stuff from? Just kind of casual chit chat, but so that I can ask and find out for sure kind of what's going on. And sometimes there's situations where maybe she needs to switch to somebody different, but I just try to make sure that I cover the bases because I would want somebody to do that with my customers too, to ask those questions so that I can send her back to her own consultant if that's the situation. Now, obviously, if it's at a skincare class and she's at the class and the hostess needs to get the hostess credits, I certainly would. She can buy from me at that class, but then I'm not going to add her on my mailing list. I would encourage her to then, purchase the next time then from her own consultant. So she's not going to get my sale invites. I'm not going to put her on my Facebook friend customer list or anything like that. So we just want to make sure that we play fair. But life is not fair. And that was another thing I remember my mom telling me a lot of times. Life is not fair. So know that there is going to be situations where a customer will, start buying from somebody else. Sometimes they want to buy from their best friend who becomes a consultant, or they want to buy from the lady who's at work. And, she doesn't mean to hurt your feelings, and it's not necessarily that other consultant, tried to get her to buy from her. Sometimes it just happens that she just would really rather do that. And we can't get upset because somebody chooses to work with somebody different, and know that sometimes happens. And sometimes the customers don't tell us the whole story. Sometimes she just clicks better with that other person, and we need to be okay with that and to not expect that it's always going to work out the way that we think that it should work out. The next one is that you're either part of the problem or you're part of the solution, or sometimes you just need to get out of the way. So I kind of ask myself if I'm part of the problem or am I part of the solution, in which case I want to be solution oriented rather than just complaining. Or if I'm not either, then I maybe should just butt out and let the other people work out the situation rather than trying to get my fingers into someplace that they maybe shouldn't be. The next one is that you'll have plenty of time to rest when you're dead. So I might get really tired working on a specific goal, but that's okay. I can keep working on it. The next one is take your time. If something really needs to be done, take your time. Take the time to learn it. So when new products come out and new things come out, I might take a little time to learn it. I was with a customer this morning, and I was showing her that new translucent powder, and it's okay if I pick up the lookbook or the catalog and open it up and kind of read what's in there, because I don't know everything and I don't remember it all right away. But it's okay to learn. I'd rather tell her the accurate information as I'm learning it. And I just told her the catalog just came out, so this is new to me too. The next one is you have to earn it. To build this business, don't be expecting everybody all to drop in your lap. That offer the makeover, offer her the opportunity to take samples home with her, or if it's somebody that you work with, maybe she could take home your tester set of your miracle set, and she can bring it back to work the next day, so she has an opportunity to try it. Be creative. There's lots of different ways people can try things. I know we're all busy, and so you might not have time to sit down with her and have a makeover, or maybe she doesn't have time for that, but that doesn't mean that there isn't plenty of ways for her to still sample the product and be able to try it. The next one is I'm sure you remember sitting there in front of a plate of vegetables where your mom is saying, just try it. You've got, you might like it. And I certainly remember fighting that one more than a few times. But I want to thank you for the fact that you're trying listening to these little video clips. This is a new thing for us, and we're trying different ways of communicating, different ways of educating ourselves, and be open to different ways of doing things. So the world is constantly changing, and if we get stuck on different things. I remember when email first came out, and there was a director friend of mine, and she says, "Oh, I'm not going to do that. That's something I'm going to learn how to do." Well, she's certainly been doing email now and has been doing it for years. Or some people are not open to different ways of communication. It's kind of like different languages, and that we need to be fluent in lots of different languages, meaning fluent in texting, fluent in Facebook, fluent in email, fluent in be willing to leave a voicemail. If I have customers who still don't have email, don't have text messaging. They don't have any of that kind of stuff. And so the only way to communicate with her is to call her on the phone. And so I have to be willing to do that too. So all of those things are part of how we communicate. So it's our job to communicate with them, not their job just to communicate with us. Um, if your mom ever said, use your head, you remember ever hearing that one? Think outside of the box. Um, when I was a new consultant, I remember being afraid that I would have to work every night and every weekend, and I didn't really want to do something like Mary Kay as a career because I would have to work all of the times that I wanted to be off. But yet I was intrigued by the business and I was liking the business. And so what I decided to do is kind of think outside of the box and think, if there's a way to do this where I didn't have to work every night and all the weekends, that I would enjoy doing that. So figure out a way that you can do it the way that fits for yourself and for your family. So I know one director friend of mine, she wanted to build a business in her area, so she decided, to prospect right in her area and met a customer base that was close to her because she didn't want to be driving all over the place. I decided I wanted to meet people who were available during the day so that I could do most of my business during the day, and so I don't go out at night very often, and yet I'm able to make a really good living and have a lot of people that I see during the course of just the business day. Another one that parents or moms sometimes to say is, listen to me when I'm talking to you. And I know I've certainly said that to my kids more than a few times. But it's a good thing to learn because sometimes in the art of soft selling, we ask a lot of questions. And in asking those questions, we have to listen to the answers back and not be so worried about what we're going to say next that we aren't listening to what she's saying. And so really, really listen to what your customer is saying. What does she want? What kind of look does she want? How much time is she willing to spend on her makeup? And really know what she's saying and be able to, when you're talking back with her, know that you have really heard her and that she feels heard. Team building is all about listening and that you've really heard her story so that you can talk with her and be able to help her with find if this business is a fit for her. And if you haven't listened to her, you're not going to know that. The next thing I know my mom said is money isn't everything. And money doesn't buy happiness, but it does buy choices, and it provides choices for you, choices of your lifestyle, choices of the things that you want to provide for your family, choices of where you want to live or how you want to dress or where you want to travel or all sorts of different things about your lifestyle. But it doesn't. It's not the end all of everything. So know that that money isn't everything, but it does provide choices. My mom always said, to do whatever it takes, to get the job done. So don't quit. And I did. I'm really glad that I learned that, and that's been very helpful in Mary Kay. That sometimes when things got a little hard, you just keep going and keep, ask somebody else or try something different. If this isn't working, then try that. But so you don't want to keep knocking your head against a wall of something that's not working, but be willing to try something else. As a little girl, do you remember I kind of believed in magic and Frosty the Snowman when he put the magic hat on and he could, then start dancing around. And, part of being successful is believing that there is a little bit of magic in things and that sometimes we don't understand it and we don't quite get how it works, but to have that joy of knowing that there's sometimes a little magic out there and that you can have a piece of that magic. I do remember being told to do from my mom, do as I say, not as I do. And we've all been told as parents that kids learn most of what they learn from what we do, not what we say. But it's not always the preacher, it's the practice. And so sometimes, it's not the messenger, it's the message. Nobody's the perfect display of the right things to do. Well, sometimes it's good for the goose. What's good for the goose is it's good for the gander. But if we can learn to not judge a book by its cover, but to evaluate by the idea and by its merit so that we aren't prejudging things, I think that will help us a lot in our journey because sometimes what we see on the outside isn't necessarily what's going on the inside. And especially as we get to know people a little bit better, you find that things might be a little bit different than what I know sometimes than what I thought it was initially. And so I need to be a little bit more open-minded about some of that kind of stuff. My mom used to say, because I said so. I didn't like that at all. But I remember as a parent, every now and then, sometimes, the kids would ask why. Um, if there's an explanation, sometimes there is an explanation, but sometimes it just is what it is. And sometimes um, with your business, you might not understand everything that's going on, but we sometimes need to know that, like Mary Kay, I might not agree with everything that the company does. I love the company. I think the company does fabulous things. I might not understand why seminar is full and got so full so fast. I mean, I knew that it would sell out fast, and I think it's going to be a fabulous seminar, but sometimes, it is what it is, and that, we just need to know that that's okay. The next one is my mom used to tell me, read a book. And, we started reading bedtime stories. We read Dr. Seuss and some of those kinds of things. And it's a great way to learn new things, to expand your horizons. And there is a book, you may have seen this one, kind of fits with what we're talking about. All I Really Need to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. But there's so many life lessons that we can learn from books, and so many things that help in our journey of Mary Kay and in our journey of life, that don't be afraid to pick up a book, and to, whether it's a book for relaxation or a book for education, but there's a lot of things that we can learn that way, and a lot of things that we can learn on the internet. On Mary Kay in Touch, there's a whole section on lessons that we can learn from about how to do the business. So there's lots of different ways we can educate ourselves. So don't be afraid to do that. Um, our moms talked about family being so important, and family comes first, and it's your immediate tribe, and family is a priority, all those kinds of things. And mom was the defender of the tribe and the protector of her nest and that sort of thing. And Mary Kay always told us faith first, family second, career third. But she didn't say career 33rd. So if you're struggling to get your business going, and if you look at all the things that are on your plate, and I know I've had to sort out and say, okay, which of these things is really, if it's a family thing, that does come first. But some of the other stuff that have been on my plate over the years, sometimes some of that's like, in the scheme of things, is this really important to me? And the things that aren't important have sometimes had to take a back seat um, to building my business, because my family is important. Earning a living that would support my family, especially starting the business as a single mom. And I was a single mom for the first several years, and my business has always been important in terms of supporting my family and paying my house payment and all that kind of stuff. So that is a key to success in that my family does come first. Another one that's important is that kids come first. Kids are important, and that you have to work. We've always scheduled family gatherings and all that kind of stuff around kids and their nap times and all that kind of stuff. And in a business like this, we have the option or the choice, and I guess I've always observed that choice of putting the kids first. So I meet a lot of my clients I've met over the years through my kids. So I meet clients or potential customers through stuff that I'm doing with the kids. So whether it's things like we're at room mothers at school, Girl Scouting events, all that kind of stuff, play groups, that kind of thing. I've met customers through all of those kinds of things. And then oftentimes the get-togethers that I have with these people look like play dates. So it's the kids are getting together to play, and then I play with the moms with makeup while the kids are playing. And you can structure all of that right with your kids. And so as my kids' situations change and age change, the way I do my business has changed over the years to fit with what works best for my kids, and the schedules that fit best for my kids. And that knowing that always provided a great lifestyle for them, and then also provided extras for them, like horse camp and college education, that sort of thing. Next one is do the right thing. Moms believe that doing the right thing is really, really important, and that in Mary Kay, you always want to be doing the right thing. The next one is do what makes you happy. But know that you are in charge or responsible for your own happiness, and that we don't expect somebody else to make our happiness. And so it's not it's not who you marry or who you are connected with that's going to make you happy, that it's got to be inside of you that decides what's going to make you happy. But it is important to who we surround ourselves with, and that I know that in Mary Kay that we encourage you to look at the 5 people you spend the most time with, and that we tend to become like the people we spend the most time with, and that if I'm looking at those people and they're negative people, I'm going to likely become more negative. And if I look at those people and they're positive, I'm likely to become more positive and, obviously happier. So, pay attention to that. The next one is get some fresh air, get outside. I love being the fact that with the mobile society we have now with cell phones and laptop computers and iPads and all that kind of stuff, we can take our business anywhere we want to go. So if I want to do my business out on the boat or out on my deck, I can do that. And more power to you for being able to have that. And those of you who figured out all that, there's so much more that our little those little devices can do that you can do on the run. Go for it. Say you're sorry. If you've hurt somebody's feelings or done something that, didn't work out the way that you wanted it to do, don't hesitate to say you're sorry. Use two hands. If you, take two trips, I remember my mom telling me that. Now, I would tell you as your sales director, if you've got that much stuff that you need to be taking two trips for your Mary Kay stuff, then you've got too much stuff with you that lighten the load, that we should not be going into the lady's house, like we're moving in. I take two tote bags and my purse, little enough to be either fit into there or have it on my shoulder or something like that. But you don't want to be bringing in more stuff than what you can have one thing in each hand. The next one is set the example. Our marketing plan is designed as a role model plan where we are as you move up the career path, you bring people in to do what you do. So as a beauty consultant, your customer watches what you do, and so if they decide to become a consultant, they come in to do what you do. If you move up the career path and you become a red jacket, your team members are doing what you do. As a sales director, your unit is doing what you do. So you want to make sure that you're setting an example for other people to follow. So if you're setting a good example, meaning that as a consultant, you're selling the product and you're building your business with integrity, and then your team will follow that lead. If you're wanting to be a sales director and your team, you're following the lead of your sales director. So if you're a sales director, you attend her success events, you attend company events, you support her and what she's doing, and you talk nicely about her and that sort of thing. If you want your team to ultimately support you as a sales director, they will follow your lead. But if you aren't supporting your sales director, they will follow that lead too. So don't expect when you become a sales director that they're going to all join you at your sales meeting and support whatever you're doing if you weren't there to support your sales director. They're not going to be there to support you because that's what you showed them. Kind of like if kids don't support their parents, for example, they don't show the respect to their parents and go visit them and do things like that, then they can't expect that their kids are going to go do that when they get old either. They just don't. They would never think of it because that's what they observed. If you're trying to be a leader and there's nobody following you, you're just kind of taking a walk. So look around. If there's nobody following behind you, you're probably not being a leader. Then the final one is, if it doesn't kill you, it'll make you stronger. So whatever you bounce back from, you grow a little bit stronger from each situation that happens, that you will continue to grow stronger. And as you build your business, you will remember you'll remember the lessons, but you will forget the experiences, because sometimes there will be things that didn't go the way that you wanted to, and most of the things are the lessons and the journeys that you have along the way are going to be fabulous people that you meet, fabulous experiences, and I just wouldn't trade it in for anything else. And I'm really excited that I'm celebrating my 25th anniversary this year at our Mary Kay 50th anniversary celebration at seminar in Dallas, Texas. Thank you for joining me this week, and have a happy Mother's Day.